What if there was a big event in, I don't know, your favorite sport? Maybe it's hockey.
Maybe
there was a huge chase for a big goal by a guy who was going to break the goal record. Maybe. But then the network that was playing it was like, you know what? We're not going to make this a national game.
No.
You're just going to have to deal with it. Well,
Adam, where is this going?
Well, listen, if you're missing out on your favorite show or you're missing out on your favorite game because it's not in your region or it's blacked out, you might want to try NordVPN.
Oh.
If you're bored of streaming services or you want to make some changes, with over 5,000 server options, no show and no game is out of reach. Grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/dangle and get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan, plus 4 additional months on top. Weirdly enough, guys, 4 additional months, that would take me all the way through the playoffs.
Oh, that's so smart.
Whoa!
That's so smart right now.
And the great thing is it's completely risk-free. Okay, 4 bonus months on top of what you're already paying is what you're getting here, which is pretty sweet. We all love to binge. We all love to watch sports. We all know the playoffs are upon us. Mm-hmm. You might want to check out nordvpn.com/dangle. 4 additional months completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Let's start the show.
The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Now, before we get going, Shoeless shows. Peterborough. Tomorrow, April 12th. We're going to be there. Tickets are still on sale. Well into the hundreds now. Sold, which is great. And so we're really excited to see you, Peterborough. We're going to have a real good time. The other thing I want to mention, if you're watching the video portion of this podcast, is Steve is holding up a steel Canadian flag from the Crazy Steel guys. They're a new client. They're a local client, and it's all built in Canada. 100% Canadian steel fabricated right here in Ontario, and they make stuff like this, which is pretty neat.
This thing
Hold that up. ISO Steve. There it is.
Substantial.
It's heavy, right?
Weight.
You can't get it through audio, and you definitely can't get it through the video. It's very heavy.
No, here, wait. Here's me lifting it up.
They are multi-layer metal signs that have bold color, deep contrast, sleek layouts. This is not the stuff you're going to get at your like home and design store that's kind of piddly. This is the real deal. Do you know what I'm saying?
Your kid's not friggin' bringing this home for Father's Day.
Yeah.
All right? This is the good.
So they
this
make
is good stuff.
They make metal signs, fire pits, sculptures, privacy panels, gates, and more.
Oh, cool.
And again, Canadian steel. And built here in St. Clements, Ontario. Steve, Jesse, you guys are Catholic. Tell me about St. Clements.
The patron saint of juiced up pitching.
Oh. Boo.
Yeah.
Boo.
I don't know.
Roger Clemens?
Yeah.
Is that a Roger Clemens reference?
No, it's not.
Oh, God.
It's not.
Wow. So the big news this morning, Gabe Landeskog skating with the Colorado Eagles could play this weekend, which would be cool. This is his first time on the ice since the Stanley Cup. Very excited for him. And then yesterday, Ivan Demidov, the demigod, arriving in Toronto because this is where he ultimately wants to be.
Yes, 100%.
There was a live stream that got over 200,000 views at
Offer
one point.
sheets 3 years away.
There were Montreal Canadiens at the arrival gates. He kind of did like a quick and then got out of there. There were cops there for crowd control, but nobody was that crazy. He could play the Senators tonight, or he could play the Leafs tomorrow.
You know, as someone who notably is not a fan of airport experiences, should you be allowed to just go? Should you be allowed to just show up and wait for strangers?
Yeah, the people do that all the time. They do that for like Olympic athletes and they do. Yeah, what? Why? What's wrong with this?
I don't know. It's a bit strange.
People were crapping on the live stream, and I was like, "Yo, can you let fans be fans? Like, so what? Oh, they got a live stream going. Who cares?
I mean,
they're excited. Like, oh, why are we dumping on their parade, yucking their yum?
Part of me was like, come on, that's a bit of a stupid idea. And then I saw the numbers. I'm like, oh. Let me see, how far is Pearson from my house?
I don't know. Do you guys think that that's weird? I think it's fan behavior.
It's fan behavior.
And if a local news outlet sent a camera, nobody would think anything of it.
No, but that's a news outlet, though. You know what I mean? It's not a crowd. Folks.
Why does the news outlet send the camera?
Because people are excited.
Oh, is that crazy? And if they cut back on local news and national news across the country, who is it left to?
The people.
The people.
Adam,
stop being mean to these guys.
Comrade Wild.
I'm just
all right.
All I'm saying is I was excited and I watched some of the stream too.
Having a flight tracker. First of all, I don't even know how you find that shit. Having a flight tracker.
It's really
I guess so, because it happens for every athlete, except for the ones coming to the Blue Jays. But it happens. And to have the highlights playing next to the flight tracker was so surreal. I'm like watching him fly above Greenland, and it's just like him setting up a wicked play in the cage.
Yeah.
That was a surreal experience.
I respect that. Jesse, your thoughts?
I think it's fair to be excited for the athlete and greet them at the airport. I don't think it's that. I think it's pretty normal thing that happens. It's not unnatural at all.
Yeah. And I thought they were all pretty polite when he showed up, right? It's not like they attacked him or mobbed him or whatever.
Yeah, I think it'd be a cool moment if you're that athlete and you come off the plane, people are greeting you. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. Yeah. People were like, oh, he's going to want to go right back to Russia. I'm like, you mean he plays for a team that has national and international interest? I don't know, man. That sounds pretty sweet. I would be excited. And this guy,
you see the contract he signed? Yeah, no, I think he's staying.
So he's got the Conn Smythe bonus, which I think is hilarious. Can we talk about that? $500,000 if he wins the Conn Smythe.
Over 500.
Over $500,000,
I think. Well, I mean, how's he going to spend it? If I'm Ivan Demidov, it's already spent in my mind. You know, I'm winning that thing.
So you're just going to put that on your credit card?
Who else is going to win it?
Right.
Oh no, I think Adam. How much is a McLaren?
About 300,000 to 500,000 for a lower level one.
There you go. Maybe he needs 1.5.
Okay, all right.
One, and then he'll make the rest next year when he wins the Conn Smythe.
Right, right. And then he could buy one of the higher end McLarens,
right?
Which are like $1 million, $1 million too. So, yeah.
What is the most expensive Mazda?
You know what? That's a really good question.
I want to know. Zoom, baby.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Anyway, excited this weekend to see him. Okay. He arrived in Toronto. Do you instantly transport him to Ottawa, have him take the ice and play tonight, or do you just have him hang out here and just let him play?
I mean, wow, that's a lot of traveling. The perfect scenario for me is first game as a Montreal Canadian, hockey night in Canada against the Leafs.
Right.
That's too perfect. You also want to get him hanging out with the boys as soon as possible.
Yes.
Right. I'm trying to think, and it's difficult to think on the spot. And we know how important this is because of the Matvei Michkov experience. Are there any Russians on the Habs?
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
I'm trying to think. Well, it's important, right? Like that is still kind of Nick Antropov's role with the Leafs. Like it's in player development. But last year, when Ilya Samsonov was going through his stuff, Nick Antropov was working with him because of their mutual mother tongue, right? What a fascinating experience for this kid and for Habs fans, and like for someone who could be a transformational player for them. He probably should have gone second, right? No disrespect to Artem Levshunov, but I think there's a reason he didn't. And
Michkov, there's a reason he dropped to 7th.
Well, yeah, I think he had more to do with it than Demidov did. He was just like, nah, I'm not going to go there, not going to go there. Yeah, Philly. Not a lot of people fighting tooth and nail to
get to Philly right now.
Flyers.
One of them just scored his 20th goal last night.
Yeah.
Jess?
Looking at the roster, there's no Russians.
No Russians.
Interesting.
No Russians.
Now, Brendan Gallagher told Eric Engels that he said he doesn't have to come here and be a hero. He just has to be himself. Looking at the Habs lines, where do you put a guy like this? So you got Caulfield, Suzuki, Slafkovsky, Oliver Kapanen, Alex Newhook, Patrick Laine, Josh Anderson, Christian Dvorak, Brendan Gallagher, Michael Pezzetta, Jake Evans, Joel Emria. So do you move Gallagher down? Do you move, who are you moving around here? Because I don't think you're going to put Laine and Demidov on the same line. Are you?
So I'm... He's a right winger. He's
Yes.
a left-handed right winger. And the first one I thought was like, I can move Slav.
Whoa.
I wouldn't put him right on the top line to start. So here's a little gap in my knowledge. I want to know which Montreal Canadiens play both wings. Like Josh Anderson, for example, I'm pretty sure can play both. That would help inform my answer, because if Laine can go over to the left, Demidov with Laine and Newhook would make a lot of sense. That's probably what I would do.
Well, Laine played like left wing last game, right?
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be.
I thought he was a left winger.
Yeah. It'll be Laine, Newhook, Demidov, right?
You think so?
Yeah. Kapanen will probably come out, the 21-year-old who hasn't played a whole bunch. You know, you bring him out and you put in the new guy.
So what I was wondering though, is that too much we on the same line? Because as much as we love Patrick Laine, he's a turnover machine sometimes.
It is fun to have a wee line.
And does it matter? Like, it's the Montreal Canadiens. They're young. They're playing with house money. They're going to a Caps playoff series. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, Kapanen has played 15 games, 0 goals, 2 assists. You could take him out, or you could drop him to the fourth line if you really wanted to and take Pizzetta out. I think if you get Demidov, to do Demidov things. Put him in the top 6.
Okay, and you did a whole video on him.
I sure did.
What do people need to know who are outside? Because I don't need to inform Montreal Canadiens.
Pizzetta, just before people correct you, Pizzetta's on the left side. Armia was playing on the right side.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry. You're right. I was looking at Kapanen, who's on the
left side.
But we're swapping Laine
Right.
over there.
Well,
Yeah,
Laine on the right. Laine was on the left side last game. So
yes.
like,
But Daily Faceoff has him listed on the right.
I think they have it wrong.
Yeah, they probably do.
Well, that's also possible.
Yeah, no, that's where Steve got screwed up though.
Oh,
that's the point.
Yeah. Okay. Laine. I mean, damn it. Demidov. Damn it, Demidov, which I'm sure I'm going to be saying tomorrow night. He is excellent on his backhand. He can score the most ridiculous highlight reel goals you've seen. His mixtape is like probably the best in the KHL this season. Wasn't the most prolific scorer in the KHL, but what gets left out because I left it out, of the Demidov signing video is Roman Rottenberg, his coach in the KHL, didn't play him very much, which you sort of talked about last show. What really impressed me watching his highlights, because admittedly I don't watch a ton of SKA St. Petersburg games in my off time, is how good he is north-south and east-west. And his skating style, not to make everything about the Leafs, reminds me eerily of Mitch Marner.
So a lot of edge work.
Really impressive side-to-side edge work. Really flexible and mobile in the hips. I think he's going to be able to put together some really dynamic stuff. And like I know. First thing, taking Slavkovsky at that first line seems ridiculous. I think Demidov will be up there with Suzuki and Caulfield in short order. Maybe not this season, maybe not during these playoffs, but that'd be something I'd look at out of camp. He's silly. He's ridiculous. He's a really, really, really dynamic player.
Jess, do you have something there?
Yeah, I think like you start him on the third line for sure, and then you ease him into it.
Third line?
Like I would say you probably don't even want to play him right away tonight against Ottawa, but maybe they will, because you want to have him just some time on this side of the continent, right?
I want him.
You want him to just spend time around the guys and everything. So you bring him to Ottawa and everything. I assume he's already there, or maybe he's getting paperwork done. Who knows? And then you bring him and you play him maybe against Toronto tomorrow.
Yeah, that was the confusing thing for me, because so he landed in Toronto and obviously came out of the airport. That's why everyone saw him. So unless someone drove him to Ottawa, which Montreal doesn't need to do, I guess he's just staying here.
Yeah.
You also he's coming from friggin' Russia. Like guy's got to sleep.
Yeah.
Guy's got to get a non-plane ride sleep in him. That's, I think, maybe more important than meeting the boys.
It's a little tough if they play him tonight.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to.
Yeah. So of course he's going to make his debut under the lights in Toronto. Hockey Night in Canada, Montreal, Toronto game. Like better
than a back-to-back.
Yeah, I suppose. Okay. Yeah,
I know he's young, but
it's going to be somebody to watch. It's going to be crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the Carolina Hurricanes and New Jersey Devils are going to play each other in the first round, and it's important that you understand this because SKA St. Petersburg lost another player, and that's Alexander Nikishin, who is a third-round draft pick, 69th overall, which is nice.
Oh, he's coming over.
By the Carolina Hurricanes. They just signed him.
Oh, okay.
He will... The visa process is going to take time, according to Frank Saravalli, but his NHL debut will be round 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And what's interesting about this player is he just got out of the playoffs. St. Petersburg came up a little bit short in the Gagarin Cup, but he was playing 29 minutes on average throughout those 4 games. This is a 23-year-old. He's the captain. He was playing 24 and a half minutes in the regular season on average. And he's a 6'4" big body, loves to throw hits, and he scores a ton of points too.
Well, so this is what I was going to say. Alexander Nikishin has nearly identical offensive numbers to Demidov this season. 61 games, 17 goals, 29 assists for 49 points. So he has 2 fewer goals, 1 fewer assist, 3 fewer points in 4 fewer games. As a defenseman, like, yeah, he's older, but that's crazy. Like, that could be he could be quite the boon for the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
Who, oh man, you know what? I'm glad something finally went their way. They always find these guys.
Well,
always.
And that's kind of what you need to do, right?
100%.
And they drafted him a while ago. They've let him sort of grow into something, but he had over 140 points combined in the last 3 years, and nobody else in the KHL is even close to that in terms of defense. This is a 23, and again, I have to remind you, like, the way the KHL looks at this, Steve mentioned that Roman Rottenberg barely played Ivan Demidov. I think Ivan Demidov's average ice time was like 10 or 11 minutes this year. Yeah. And he still put up numbers like that. This Nikishin guy, for him to be the captain, be 23 years old, it's a real testament to what this player meant to this team.
Now, it's very KHL, though, because he, for him to be at his youngest, like an 18, 19-year-old on SKA St. Petersburg, he'd be buried. Maybe wouldn't even get drafted. Maybe we don't even know about this guy. But he was on Spartak Moscow. And
Which
I know
is the other Moscow team.
Yeah.
There's 2 Moscow teams.
That is such a good way to describe them. The other Moscow team.
Yeah, they're
you
the
might be
Mets.
like, oh, they're a big deal. Nope. That's Dynamo and that's SKA. No one gives a good gosh darn about Spartak.
Right.
So he played a few seasons there, came into his own, was really good there. And then St. Petersburg said, well, the rest of the league is just our farm team, so yoink. And they took him.
I kind of like that the KHL and the Frozen Four sort of wrapping up around the same time, as well as the OHL and WHL and QMJHL playoffs wrapping up around the same time, allows for players to be added at this last second. And this is something that we didn't really see happen too much years and years ago. But now, not only can these guys come in, they can be really, really strong additions. You look at the Minnesota Wild are frothing at the mouth because Zeev Buium is available. Oh. And he might be playing soon. Zane Parekh made his Calgary Flames debut. We'll talk about that game. But,
oh dear,
there is it's like, okay, there's like reinforcements at the trade deadline, and then there's reinforcements right before the playoffs.
I want to punch myself in the face for ever even entertaining the thought that expansion to 36 or 40 teams would water down the pool. Hockey is in, like, listen, off-ice issues, we know about all of them, right? But I've beat this drum for many years. On ice, hockey is in an unbelievable place. It's in a really good place. This is the juiciest lead up to the playoffs that we've had in a long time. Like, just in terms of who's available. Mm-hmm. And like, it's not, oh yeah, we might be able to insert this guy in the lineup. No, it's like all top 10, top 5 picks, guys who are going to be, impact players immediately for their teams. Hockey's in a great spot, man. There's so much talent.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great. Yeah. It's exciting. Okay, so now that we've got all those signings and arrivals out of the way, we need to talk about the Leafs.
Yeah.
And the fact that, as of right now, the Leafs need 2 wins in their next 4 games to clinch first in the division. They could be aided by a Lightning loss, though, because the Lightning would need to win 4 straight to pass in that scenario.
It's possible, man.
It's totally possible. And their regulation wins are exactly the same. So, I think the reality of the situation is it's not done yet, but that win, that Matthew Knies, Mitch Marner, Anthony Stoller's masterclass, because it really was those three guys that stood out.
Unbelievable.
That was a big game. And we talked about on Wednesday how the Florida game, while it mattered, and while it wasn't ideal that they didn't beat Florida, and also actually just got stomped by Florida, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, this is who this team is, right? It's not, we're not looking at this and going, okay, well, I'm going to draw huge conclusions from this. Let's start with Matthew Knies, who has scored over 22% of his career goals at Amalie Arena. Steve and Jesse, your reaction.
Luke Fox with the craziest stat of the night. I couldn't believe that. Knies, 10 goals against the Lightning out of 44. I can't believe how open he was. Jesse, I'd like your read of the Lightning, because, what is so different about them? I'm trying to put my finger on it. What is so different about them from 2 or 3 years ago? It can't just be that they're older.
In terms of what?
Well, they had this unbeatable aura about them. You couldn't beat them. Mm-hmm. It was the big, bad Tampa Bay Lightning, and they're still extremely good. Kucherov's an MVP caliber player. Hedman is an elite defenseman. Vasilevsky's an elite goaltender. They have crazy depth. Their center depth is unreal. They loaded up at the deadline, and I don't know. They don't quite have the same oomph. What is that?
You probably think that way because the Leafs beat them in the meantime after their 3 trips to the Stanley Cup Final. They haven't gone on a deep playoff run since.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
They haven't won a round.
Right. Since the Stanley Cup Final. Going to it.
I can't. The Leafs, there are so many weird teams in the NHL that just have the Leafs number, and it doesn't necessarily make any sense. The Leafs got swept in their season series against the Sharks.
Yes.
And yet every time, I think the Leafs might be the only team who sees Tampa on the schedule and goes, oh. They're tight games. There was the one blowout earlier this year, but they're very tight games. This went to overtime. Tampa erased a 2-goal deficit, but Tampa's lost 11 games at home all season long, and they lost this one against the Leafs. They allowed a hat trick. I don't get it.
I think the game was very tight.
It was a tight game. It could have gone both ways.
Describing it like they got blown out.
No,
they lost.
No.
They lost at 3-on-3 in overtime.
Yes.
And the difference of the game is they didn't capitalize on their late power play where they usually do. On the call where Nick Robertson served it for Bobby McMahon, who got called for the cross-checking. That never happened.
I know.
For McMahon. And if Tampa capitalized, they did capitalize on that power play actually. That was the tying goal. That was like, of course. And then they didn't follow it up with a late goal or anything like that. But if Tampa gets another goal sometime in there, it's a completely different game. If they win the 3-on-3, which is really a coin toss between NHLers, unless the teams in the standings we're very far apart. It's a coin toss at that point in the game. So I feel like it was a very tight game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
at the end of the day, the Leafs keep coming up with the win. Right?
Sure.
And listen, I'm not enthusiastic about playing the Lightning. There's not a single team in the East I'm like, yeah, I want the Leafs to play them on account of they're the Leafs. And we're just not allowed to be cocky in that regard. But there's a comfort with, they just always get these guys.
And the Lightning haven't looked at the regular season as something serious in a while, because the last time they had a really spectacular regular season was the 19 season where they lost in the first round
to Columbus.
They had 128 points and they lose in the first round to Columbus, and then they follow that up by trips to the Stanley Cup, where in all of those subsequent years they never won a division. They never were one of the best teams in terms of
Isn't that crazy?
In the Atlantic. It's never been their thing because they know what matters is the playoffs. So,
and by design too.
Yeah.
We're just gonna sit Kucherov.
Yeah,
Kucherov. We're just gonna sit Kucherov.
I don't think you should be so hey, the Leafs own the Lightning.
No, I'm not. I'm not. What I'm trying to figure out is how that keeps happening, because it's weird. It's weird that it keeps happening. Is it I keep talking about the 3-headed monster of Hedman, McDonough, Sergachev. Now, they still have Hedman. They still have McDonough. They're older now, and they don't have Sergachev. They have some good defensemen back there, but it's not the same. Like, is it that?
Okay, dating back to, and this includes, I think, the playoffs. Yeah, it does, the last 2 games. Including the playoffs for the last 2 games, their last 10 games against the Lightning, the Leafs are 7-3-0.
That's crazy. And how many different goalies have played those games?
Probably
Samsonov won
4 or
the
5,
series.
yeah.
Like, that's I cannot wrap my head around it.
Mm-hmm.
The Leafs, I mean, they're a hard team to score on, the Lightning are, and the Leafs figure it out. Marner's first goal was very funny. Like, that was a very visually funny goal. The nice move, but then he just sort of, like, he hit that puck like he was annoyed with it. I hate this stupid puck.
I like that they seemed fired up early, too.
Oh, yeah.
The Leafs came to play. It was like, okay, we had our night off in Florida. As we mentioned, too, like, clearly the playoff starter is going to be Anthony Stolarz. They didn't play him in the first half of the back-to-back. They played him in the second half.
The hardest LFRs to make are the ones where what I'm saying is heavily affected by what happens in the next game. And so I'm like, all right,
If
I'm giving it to you. Don't make me look stupid. I'm giving it to you. And with that start, I was like, okay, good. Vindication. And then they blew it. And I was like, Steve, oh boy.
Yeah. Now there
Leafs,
were some. I think I have gone out of my way, guys, to not complain too much about the refs this year. But it was an all-timer for the refs
yeah?
I thought they were just brutal, awful.
They had a tough week. There's a lot of teams complaining about them.
Yeah, but maybe they're taking their time off before the playoffs too, right? You can't be full gas all the way. Yep. So you see Mitch Marner score early. You see Mitch Marner create the turnover that gets the puck to Matthews and then ultimately to Knies early-ish.
Yep.
Right before the 5-minute mark.
Kucherov made almost an identical mistake to Riley. It just happened at a different spot on the ice.
Okay.
Like Riley in the Florida game, and I don't know, the puck just skipped on him.
Happens.
Shit, sorry.
Yeah. So are we able to take anything from that? Like, is it proof that the Leafs can start early and against good teams? And should they consider it more often generally?
I mean, I don't think Leaf fans are ever mad at the Leafs because the Leafs suck. I think they're mad at the Leafs because the Leafs routinely show us what they can do, and they don't do it every night. But, like, it's still the same investment emotionally and the same time investment.
Right. So you know that their ceiling is here.
Yes.
But you're like, well, we're a little under the ceiling right now. What's going on here?
I totally understand the reaction to the Florida game. Honestly, the reaction to the Florida game is validated by how the Leafs played against Tampa.
Right.
I think we're both right here. I'm like, calm down because they'll bring it against Tampa. And then there's the reaction of why did they suck against the Panthers? They brought it so hard the next night.
Mm-hmm. And on the Matthew Knies train, so Jesse, the thing that's being compared online right now is Matthew Knies with one Brady Tkachuk. And I don't think that this is a fair comparison.
Oh, my goodness.
But I want to know your reaction to this. Matthew Knies, 74 games, 55 points, 29 goals, 26 assists. Brady Tkachuk, 71 games, 29 goals, 26 assists, 55 points. The major difference is the PIMS, where Brady is over 100.
Why are they being compared?
Because they are both wingers who play on the top line, who are sort of rock'em sock'em robot-y, and also they're going to play each other in the first round, very likely. And I think the chirping has already begun. But it is notable just because of the fact that, and again, I'm not saying Matthew Knies is Brady Tkachuk, but he's had some pretty good numbers this year.
Well, remember the chirping meme with Knies used to be Uri Slafkovsky. And now at this point in their career, I'm not saying it's going to stay this way, but at this point in their career, like, Knies is so far ahead of them, it's like not even a funny meme. So they had to pick a different target. So they landed on Brady Tkachuk.
It seems like it. Jesse, what do you think?
No, I think like Knies is going to be an NHLer at this high level for so long in his career. Like already what he's shown so far in year 2, which is full season year 2.
Unbelievable.
I know he got into those playoff games when he came out of University of Minnesota.
And was a weapon. He was
yeah,
great.
and was great there. And then he was it concussed?
He got torpedoed by fucking Sam Bennett.
Choke slammed.
But like Matthew Knies is going to be so good. And like, thank goodness they have him for this next era of Leafs, because that's the gap that good teams who are good for a long time can't really fill in, is where you get that draft pick who steps in, who ushers you into the next era. Like, and now they have this 22-year-old who's going to be a star. And when Marner leaves, which looks like he's going to,
I don't know.
You have Matthew Knies to step in and be a part of the next core. So Matthew Knies is incredible.
How long do you think, that was going to be my follow-up, how long do you think, Jesse, before it's no longer a core 4, it's a core 5, or he's the new member of the core 4?
I think it'd be him just stepping in replace of Marner in terms of what you're counting on them from your forward group. And I think with Marner leaving, just because that's what it looks like is going to happen depending on how the Leafs perform in the playoffs. If they go on a Stanley Cup run, he might stick around, who knows. But if we're just going based on he's leaving, I think it'll be easier to spread around everything in the forward group, where you can spread that money that Marner made to other pieces of the offense. And Matthew Knies is just going to get better from here on out to take some of that burden away. But it's also going to go to the 2 guys you bring in with Marner's money that gone out, plus the money that goes to then Matthew Knies long term, so you can keep him around.
Right.
John Tavares decides to play for Leakman because he's a hero.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Leafs have $27 million to spend this offseason, so there's some money in
Because JT will probably be,
26 after they signed Tavares.
60% of what he makes now, which is awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I was asking myself this question: who was the last non-first round draft pick, that the Leafs selected and actually kept? So you can't answer Tuukka Rask. Who hit the way that Knies has? Like, he's the best non-first round pick Leaf since who?
Was Coberly a first rounder?
Oh, no. He was deep in the draft, like 7th round.
So I would say him.
It might be Thomas Coberly. Like, I'm like Carl Gunnarsson, but no, like, he was a very good player, had a very good career, but like...
And they didn't keep him for... they traded him right at when he was about to be valuable.
Roman Polak.
Yeah.
And you're saying they had to keep them. So like Connor Brown doesn't count, Verhaeghe doesn't count.
I thought about Connor Brown, but like, Connor Brown's never put up 29 goals, has he?
No, I don't believe.
Over 20. Over 20
Connor
a
Brown's
couple times.
career high is 21 goals.
There you go. He's gotten over 20 a couple times.
Oh, and 20. So over 20.
Okay, he's got it over 19.
His career highs are 21, 20, 16, 14.
Zach Hyman wasn't a Leaf draft pick, so he doesn't count.
Mm-hmm. And guys who left don't count. So Sean Dursey doesn't count.
Jersey, no.
Because he didn't play.
He was a really good pick. Really good pick.
I'll give you the list of second-round picks from the Leafs, or later than the first. That have played a bunch of NHL games. Nick Robertson.
Nope.
No. Sean Dursey.
Good pick, unfortunately.
Pontus Holmberg.
Nope.
You know?
Well,
he didn't.
You know what? There's still time.
He hasn't hit like Knies has hit. I think that's fair to say.
Carl Grundstrom.
Had a good career.
He just scored his 3rd goal of the season.
Joseph Wall.
Joseph Woll there's competition there. Goalies are a little weird.
I thought you meant player. Yeah.
Skater.
No. Travis Dermott.
Nope.
Dakota Joshua.
He's good, but no.
Leafs didn't keep him either.
Pierre Engvall.
Nope.
Carter Verhaeghe.
Yeah, but they didn't keep him.
They didn't keep him.
All right. Andreas Janssen.
No.
Connor Brown.
Nope.
Close. Josh Levo.
Nope. In the KHL, yeah.
Greg McKegg.
Nope.
Sam Carrick.
Good career, but no.
Jimmy Hayes.
Jimmy Hayes. Oh my
We're at
God.
the 2008 draft now.
Wow, Jimmy Hayes.
We're going back.
Greg Pateryn.
Oh, wow.
He had an okay career, but no.
Yeah, I'm going to every guy who's played over 100 games. I'm just throwing out there. Matt Fratton.
Frat Sanity.
Carl Gunnarsson.
There's an argument, but no.
7th round pick. Nikolai Kulemin. That's
There you go. Okay,
you know what?
Cooley.
Yeah.
Probably Cooley.
Yeah.
So that
He had a
is
30-goal season, I think.
did.
the Leafs actually did really well in the 2006 draft.
They sure did.
I'll pull it up for you. Yuri Talusti.
Yep.
went 13th overall.
Not the greatest pick.
Kuhlman,
But actually, he had a decent career.
446 games.
Yeah, just not a lot of them with the Leafs, though.
Kuhlman went second round, 44th overall, 669 career games, 121 goals, 153 career assists. James Reimer went in the fourth round. Corbinian Holzer went in the fourth round. And then we got Victor Stahlberg in the sixth round and Leo Komarov in the sixth round.
The Anton Strawman
That's
thing
a great
kills
draft.
me. Anton Strawman is a guy they should have held on to.
Their scouting staff for that year got 3,500 games out of that draft class.
That was
amazing.
The Strawman's the 2005 draft.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just looking up a lot. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but look at that. It's great.
Yeah, 2006, they
I
hit.
forgot about
Great
Victor
job.
Stahlberg. I liked him.
That's such a great draft class of guys who ended up putting together pretty decent careers. But the Leafs gave up on too quickly. Stahlberg's one of them.
I want to know. I wanna
Komarov,
go back
they
and
kept-
find out who the hell their pro scouting was back then.
In 2006.
2006 to about 2012.
Elite prospects would have that, but you'd have to dig.
Yikes.
A little scrolling, yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So
How do you throw away a
Kuhlman
draft
is
class
probably
like
the
that?
answer. Cool.
So you would say Matthew Knies is the Leafs' best draft pick outside of the first round since Nikolai Kuhlman.
Yes, and even Knies, I'm pretty sure, is younger than Kuhlman was when he came over.
And he's better.
Kuhlman's problem was consistency and
better.
also skating.
Nice is better.
Yeah,
Yeah, Cooley had a bit of an inefficient stride, I think. Is that fair to say?
That was Gus Katsaros, who was a scout. He was one of our earliest guests on the SDP. I was like, but Kuhlman always looks like he's trying so hard, and he's like, he looks like he's trying so hard because he is trying hard because his skating is inefficient.
Right.
He skates like
Choppy.
like he's kayaking, like that's
Yeah.
It's not beautiful. Like Jake Gardner skated beautiful.
Right. Gave away beautiful pizzas, too.
Just beautiful pizzas.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp, and it is playoff time.
It is.
Playoff time can stir the emotions. And what emotions do you often feel, Jesse and Steve, when you're watching the playoffs?
It feels like I'm sitting on my couch stationary while being chased. Because my heart doesn't know the difference between being chased by a scary predator in the jungle and
The Panthers.
Yeah.
Which is a jungle thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
Jess,
good tie-in there, fellas.
what about you, buddy?
Just unbridled joy because the Leafs are winning.
Yay. That's true. That's positive thinking. I like that mindset. And listen, if you need help with regulating some of that emotion,
Good word.
I would think that BetterHelp is a great place for you to try. And here's why. You have access to a diverse network of over 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties. So you can find somebody that works for you. You can often find them in 24 to 48 hours when, outside therapy can take 4 to 6 weeks. BetterHelp is fully online. It makes therapy affordable, serving over 5 million people worldwide, and it's easy to switch therapists anytime at no cost because, and a lot of people who've never tried therapy don't know this, sometimes you just don't vibe with the first person you're with. And so you got to move on to the next person. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can discover what your relationship green flags are with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/SDP today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp. BetterHelp.com/SDP. Hey, so then I also want to talk about this. Anthony Stolarz, I thought, was really, really good in this game, even though 3 goals given up. It felt like every shot that he saw, he stopped. It was just the shots that he couldn't see.
Tampa, those are playoff style goals, though, right? So I think the Leafs have done a pretty good job in recent memory of when Stolarz is in net, especially if he'll make the initial save. If there's a rebound, which there often is, the Leafs are good at clearing it. I've noticed that about them this year. They're pretty good at doing that. But Tampa got them a little bit. Florida got them too. So you got to clean that part of your game up heading into the playoffs because that's how all the goals are scored.
Right.
Screens.
When you guys look at the 33 block shots the Leafs had, which is pretty sweet, I think. It's an excellent stat to have going into the playoffs. There are 2 ways to look at a block shot thing, guys, and I want to know how you look at it in context, okay? Because you can look at any stat and find the good and the bad in it. 33 block shots in a game basically says, hey, they didn't have the puck a lot. And they they sure had to dive in front of a lot of shit.
Yeah.
The other side you can say is that's the teams that block the most shots in a lot of cases win a lot of playoff games. They don't win them all.
Yeah.
But they win a lot. What do you take in the Maple Leafs context, game 78 this year? Both of you, I need your answer on this.
What I'm taking into account is how I felt about the Randy Carlyle Leafs and how I feel about the Craig Berube Leafs.
Got it.
Because there are some similarities, which is derogatory when it comes to the Randy Carlyle Leafs. But those guys gave up more chances, more shots against than their opponents because they were bad. If you watch them, you're like, oh, that's the second best team on the ice. They stink. When I watch the Berube Leafs, especially against the Lightning, I'd be more worried if they didn't play like that all year and win games like that all year. Like, they weren't hanging on by the skin of their teeth. They're perfectly content to let you go ahead. Take your garbage shots. We'll get in front of it. We're not afraid. Take shots from distance. Take shots from the outside. All the stuff that's easier to block. Go ahead and go for, float one on. Go for a deflection. Odds are it's not even going to make it to the net. And if it does, our goalie's going to stop it. And if he does, we're clearing it. So, I see that. You don't want the Leafs to have to block 33 shots. It's freaking awesome that they do, though.
Jesse, what do you think?
Block shots are a mixed bag in terms of what they tell you about a team, because if you go off of just who's blocked the most shots in the NHL, right now it's Montreal, Philly, San Jose, Anaheim, Toronto. Those are the top 5. And if you go to the other end, it's Carolina, Florida, Edmonton, Nashville, Dallas, it doesn't tell you much. Like Carolina, Florida, Edmonton, good team.
In one of those brackets, all the teams are good, and one of them only one is good.
Yeah. But if you go to the middle of the chart on shots blocked, like Vegas is 15th, Winnipeg is 16th, Boston is 17th. So you have Winnipeg at the very top and Boston, who just been tanking for the back half of the season, right at 16 and 17.
Right with each other.
Right in the middle. It's not like goals for or goals against where it's like the top teams are at the top. So I don't know if it tells you too much. You have to really look at how the team's playing with that strategy, because I think the way Steve illustrates it, it means different things to different teams. Like I think a team like Anaheim, who's at 4th, it means that they have a lot of shots on them. But Toronto at 5th, it's more of a direct strategy on how they're trying to play and get in front of shots. And when you have a guy who's one of the league leaders in block shots, Kris Tanev, like that's going to be his whole game. So that's going to drive that number up a little bit. And Montreal at the top of this list, they have defensemen who like that's their whole game. We block shots, and that's how they play with their defense. So I think you need a more look into how the team is playing as opposed to just taking block shots and saying that.
Well, that's why I said in the context of the Leafs, what do you think?
Totally. So, I think that's just how they've chosen to play. And Craig Berube plays a boring style of hockey. And with that style of hockey is going to come a lot of block shots.
The Leafs are, you got to be enthusiastic about them. I think this has probably been a tough season for casual Leaf fans. Mm-hmm. They don't play a beautiful game. Mm-hmm. It's not as fun to watch as the Sheldon Keefe Leafs. It's not. It's not as exciting, but I like the whole winning thing. I think that's pretty chill.
Mm-hmm. This is like one of the lowest amount of points the Leafs will get in the last 5 or 6 years, too. And they might win the division. It's sort of weird. But it speaks to there is a lot more parity in the East than there is in the West. The West is have and have not.
Way more.
There is a lot of feasting going on in the West this year, which does inflate point totals. It's why the Leafs have had seasons when they got up over 110, right? Mm-hmm. This year, if the Boston Bruins are in last place, if that's the worst you have to offer, it's still a pretty good hockey team.
An Eastern team might not even pick top 5 in the draft unless they win a lottery.
Right. And that's fine.
So there's 2 stats that are, it depends on how you look at them. Mm-hmm. But generally, if you have an abundance of this stat, it means you don't have the puck. There's blocks and there's hits. So I tried to look at last year, right? Because you were looking at this year's stats, right?
Sure.
This last year's block shots, unfortunately, tell me nothing.
That's what
So
I'm trying to illustrate.
Islanders are first. Flyers are second. Islanders made the playoffs, but weren't very good. Flyers did not make the playoffs. Golden Knights were third. Sharks were 4th. Habs were 5th. Caps were 6th. Meh. Like, I don't know if there's a single team in a divisional playoff spot except for the Golden Knights. The interesting one, though, is hits. Is number 1 in the entire league, the Florida Panthers.
Hits? Yeah.
Who ended up winning the Stanley Cup. And now I'm going to give you the most frustrating stat you'll hear today. The number 2 team in the league last year was the Leafs. The number 3 team was the Bruins. So there was a lot of hitting going on in the Atlantic.
Tell me who the team in last place in shots blocked was last season.
Last play, like fewest block shots.
Yeah. No, you have just check what you're just looking at. You had it in front.
Oh, no, I thought it was a guessing game.
No, just sort to the bottom.
Sort to the bottom. I knew it. The Carolina Hurricanes.
The same team as this year. Because that's
Really?
how they play hockey.
Yes.
That's why they have all these playoff games where it's like, we were close. Because they play these high event games where things are always happening. They don't block a lot of shots.
And Dallas is number 2.
That's just their strategy, And I feel like it just speaks more to how the team plays as opposed to like, are they good or bad?
Yes. It's not as simple as block shot bad. It's about style.
Or block shot good.
Yes. Yeah. Like I'd be way more concerned about the Leafs if I didn't watch them do this for months and months and months with success.
All right. Like Nashville, who's 29th in the league and least amount of shots blocked. Like Nashville's had a disaster season.
Yeah, they're
you
bad.
look at them and you're like, maybe you should block more.
And yeah.
You should have blocked more.
And they're also not committed to playing whatever style that they're supposed to be playing.
Good hockey.
Yes, and I look at the Ducks, for instance, coached by Greg Cronin, old school guy. Not surprised they block a lot of shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's Rod Brindamore, though, who he must have been up there when he played, but
doesn't do it.
Hey, guys.
Very new school.
Yeah, I think he is, actually, compared to... He might have blocked a lot of shots, but I agree with Jesse. I think the way that the Canes have played under him is new school. It's a totally different way than, like Ken Hitchcock or Mike Keenan or any of those guys.
I hope Rod Brindamore is this kind of guy. Like, he walks in the room. Hey, guys. So I'm a hard-nosed former two-way NHL player. I blocked a ton of shots in my career. And I'm here to tell you that shit sucked. I didn't want to do it. I had to, and I don't want that for you. I'm not I'm not going to say I did it, so you have to do it. I'm here to say that shit sucked. So let's play a style that makes it so that we don't have to do it.
Right. And they do.
I want to hear an old school guy say that. Blocking shots sucks.
They do allow like low scoring chances. They're able to smother.
It's actually it's different. They are the last in the league in low danger shots against.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They block the least amount of shots and they allow the least amount of low danger shots against. But they also are in the middle of the pack in high danger and medium danger.
So that's a
very interesting way of playing hockey.
Rod Brindamore
should
win every Jack Adams, probably.
Yeah.
Except
they're a fascinating team to watch.
He also has the horses able to with him to pull that style off. I think there are many years the whole Brad thing that Steve occasionally screams Brad for Brad Treliving came from Brad Treliving wanting the Leafs to play a certain way and Sheldon Keefe literally going and this is hypothetical, that we don't know if this ever happened, but Brad, I don't have those players to do that. Again, I talked about it on the stream after the Leafs beat the Lightning, and you look at it's look at the defense this year to last year. Okay, so you have Morgan Riley. Oh, that's the same. Jake McCabe, that's the same. Oh, that's cool. Simo Ben, that's the same. Yeah. Chris Tanev, Brandon Carlo, dude. Oliver Ekman-Larsson. It is Philip Myers. Different.
You even go down to the Marlies.
Different.
They're huge now.
Yeah.
Huge.
Cade Weber played games for the Leafs last year. Did not this year. Or he was on the
roster.
roster.
He was on the roster.
On the roster.
6'7". They just signed a kid who was 6'5". Did a video on him yesterday.
Blake Smith. Yeah, I was going to bring him up.
Okay, last Carolina Hurricanes stat.
Okay.
Since we're here. So I said they have the least amount of low danger shots against, right?
Okay.
They have the least amount of shots blocked. Okay. Where do they rank on low danger shots for themselves?
Low danger shots for themselves in terms of taking them?
Yeah. Yes.
So they I think they just fire everything at the damn net. They're probably number one.
Number one.
Wow.
The Carolina Hurricanes allow the least amount of low danger shots, and they take the most amount of low danger shots.
So, okay. Okay.
And then they block the least amount of shots.
This explains my viewing experience last year then, because I streamed the Hurricanes Rangers series. So the
East final.
I was trying to
final.
say, which one did I do?
Yeah. So
You were Rangers second round.
I did Hurricanes Rangers.
Yeah, Jesse
you did the East final. You did Florida.
The reason you remember watching it is because
you know what? You're right. Yeah. Sorry. I didn't.
I was like, I did that.
No. Yeah, you're right. My bad. So it was. Who was it? It was.
You did Florida, New York.
Didn't I watch the?
Yeah, of course you
Hurricanes?
watched it. You weren't.
I guess I was just watching it.
Maybe you're
well,
watching the
anyway,
stream.
so I was just watching it, going, "What a bunch of bullshit." It's just a bunch of bullshit. They go on offense and they go, "Here's a bunch of bullshit," and then the puck comes the other way, and the other team doesn't score because they're just firing on a bunch of bullshit, and it's just a bunch of bullshit. So maybe what we're seeing out of Rod the Bod is 90s hockey come back. It's just the Hurricanes have this young, fun persona about them. But no, this is actually like bringing
Neutral zone trap?
the trap era back. That's Jesse. That's so important to bring up. That they're unbelievable defensively, but they're just chucking every hunk of bullshit on net.
Yeah, the system that they're playing is not allowing anybody to get anything important, but they're also like playing a lot in the neutral zone where all of their shots are really low danger.
And I mean, is it any wonder? I thought some of the reaction to Mikko Rantanen's performance in Carolina was odd, like as if Mikko Rantanen just suddenly forgot how to play hockey. This actually informs why it didn't go well. The Colorado Avalanche are meth laced with crack. And then there's Carolina. Where's Colorado on this list?
On which one?
Everything. The high danger scoring crazy bullshit.
High danger shots 4. It's Florida, Vegas, New Jersey, Washington. Carolina's actually 5th.
Oh.
Colorado on high danger shots 4 are only 19th.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was surprising.
They're 9th in medium danger shots 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And 3rd in low danger shots 4.
Well, so maybe they're just throwing on a bunch of bullshit too. Maybe none of us know what we're talking about. You know?
This is also all situations. I didn't specify for 5-on-5.
Well, so now I can't even take it seriously because you would
so throw it
dare to
all
put
out.
power plays in shorthanded.
Yeah,
Special teams don't count.
I grouped it all together, so it's not just the 5-on-5 play. But,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm glad you thought
What
all
show
of
is
that while
this?
you were streaming last year.
Yo.
Having a baby right before trade deadline was a problem.
While finishing a book.
Yeah, probably. I'm gonna say this: not the best planning, and I'm gonna throw it out there. You're not the best planner.
I like to think. First of all, guilty as charged.
Yeah, I mean, and pot kettle, right? Like me neither.
Oh, I like to think I have a pretty good memory. The first 4 months after Leo was born, and the first 4 months after Isla was born,
yeah,
it's not there.
because you weren't sleeping.
It is not there. There's pictures, thank God. No, it's not there. I don't have it.
Let's do a quick thing on Blake Smith. What did you find out about this guy? He's a Flint Firebirds defenseman, overager. The Leafs just signed him. He's going to go probably play with the Marlies, although his contract kicks in next year.
Yeah.
What do we know?
Well, here, let me bring up my comprehensive scouting report. Okay, here it is. Beef! He's friggin' beef.
He's big.
6'5", 225. Oshawa boy.
And why get him?
Why get him? Because why the frig not? It's a low risk signing. The Leafs had a very strange issue near the end of Kyle Dubas's tenure with the Leafs, where we talked about the Marlies being so important to developing the next crop of Leafs, and we even talked about, like, Dubas said at a press conference once, like, yeah, and I want to get the Newfoundland Growlers involved, like using the ECHL team as a development or a legitimate development system. Like, how many guys really come from the ECHL all the way up to the NHL? It's hard, it's rare, but he put emphasis on it. Well, a few years ago, there were hardly any guys on the Marlies with NHL contracts. Under Brad Treliving, that appears to no longer be the case. And each year, I think he's going to have more and more guys under NHL contracts who you're able to call up. Next year, it might be the whole D-corps.
Right.
Which I think matters. It gives you more control. It gives you more options. It gives you the option to reward guys if you really want to. They signed a guy mid-season and gave him an opportunity this year with Alex Nylander. For Blake Smith, he's played a ton of OHL games, and this year he really developed offensive chops that just were not there. All the way from like his U15 days in Oshawa up until just last year with Flint. He was an assistant captain. He's described as one of the toughest, if not the toughest guy in the OHL. There's a fight between him and a rather unfortunate player on the London Knights where he just... It looks like... you ever seen someone try to open a wet plastic bag?
No.
And they just go...
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, just flap them.
Yeah.
He just flapped them. Like those parachutes in gym class from elementary school.
Right.
Yeah, that's basically what he did with that poor young man. It's just adding more beef to the back end. And the reason it is important is because the Leafs have traded all their damn picks.
Yeah.
So they're signing guys out of college. They're signing guys at the WHL. They're signing guys at a junior, and they're doing that because, with prospects, you want quality and or quantity, and the Leafs were quickly getting to a place where they had neither. So the easiest thing to do is restock quantity.
Right. And there are guys that do come up from the ECHL. Justin Hall was one of them, and Bobby McMahon is the other.
Yes.
Notable.
Yes, it does happen. It does happen.
And it's worth looking at. It's worth investing in. Now, here's a bit of a side thing. I know nobody cares, but I'm going to say it anyway. So I have been hearing for a bit that the Leafs are going to have a new third jersey next year because the license for Justin Bieber's jersey has run out. Also notable yesterday that Justin has distanced himself from Drew House. He says, don't waste your money. He's no longer associated with Drew House, which was a part of that branding. Oh. So I think that we're going to see...
No one tell Leo what we got him for his birthday.
And you might look at those jerseys and go, they're going on sale soon. And I think they probably
son
are.
Of a bitch! What? Damn it!
Did you pay full price?
Oh, maybe.
Oh, no.
Son of a... Really?
Oh,
yeah.
He wanted one so bad!
Now, doesn't mean that they don't keep the black and the way it looks. It just means that they might change little things about it.
Yeah. Oh, those are popular, man.
They're very popular,
Damn.
Which is why I'm like, if they do go with a next third jersey that's radically different, they better make sure they nail it. Because this has been a good one.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%. We're in a real good era of Leafs jerseys. They had a couple misses. That reverse retro was so disappointing. I hated that jersey, man. That sucked. And, maybe it was colored by the fact that it was COVID, and I was like, everything sucks. Just give me a green St. Pat's. You don't even got to do a third. Just give me a green St. Pat's.
Well, you know that it's going to take a lot more lobbying than that. Look how long it took them to change their goal song.
I'm not above texting people in the Leafs organization directly. I'll cold call them.
I think you maybe should.
I'm going to do it.
Jesse's always there.
I'll be an
You tell
asshole
Jesse
about
to send him, like, you know what? Jesse could have an envelope, and he could just...
Put Shanahan on the phone. You know who I am? God damn it. I'm Adam Wild. You give me my green jersey.
Anyway, yeah. So just a heads up on that stuff. It might be coming. Might be. We're not totally sure. But if Justin Bieber's not associated with it and the license is up, usually that's what it means. Right?
I've only been vaguely following what's happening with him.
It's not. I think there's some stuff. There's some
stuff.
Yeah, there's some things.
That's all you have to say.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Moving on. The Flames blew their own playoff run in a game that they were squarely ahead in. So this game tonight between the Flames and Wilds, which could have been awesome, I think is probably just more of a formality. Here's the thing with the Flames.
They're not eliminated, though.
They're not eliminated, but they blew it against the Ducks.
Well, what's crazy is both the Flames and Wild almost blew it on the same night. like at basically the same time.
Yeah, and the Wild almost blew it against the Sharks.
Was that? Yeah, it was. Yeah, Celebrini with the hat trick. 8-7 in overtime. Eriksson Ek had friggin' 4 goals.
Yep.
Which they threw all the hats back over the glass.
Yeah, you got to give them back once you hit.
Well, you know what? I said this in the group chat when Jesse posted that, but I'm like, there are so many people who are now on board with that take. It's like
right.
It is so abundantly clear that Jesse has a chokehold on people. I don't know what it is.
The Flames, it was awful. You're up 3-1 in the middle or early third period, and you have your playoff dreams like hanging in the balance. Close out this game with a 2-goal lead, and a minute after going up by 2, you allow one, and then you allow another, and
8 seconds later,
it's over.
8 seconds.
Yeah,
later.
It's so embarrassing, but it speaks to the Flames season as a whole. That's kind of how it's always gone. They go on little win streaks, they go on little losing streaks, and they're kind of just in that middle, and that's what happens with 9th seeds. And the Flames, though, the overall perspective on the season, even though this has got to be looked at as disappointing at the end, they still played way above everybody's expectations.
Yes.
This was, I think, a good season from where you thought they'd be at the beginning to where they are now. They beat all expectations, and there's a lot more than they thought they have right now.
Yeah.
And now it's about the kids and getting them in the lineup, hopefully, for the end of this, once you're actually eliminated. But I think overall you're happy, but the way it's gone, you're disappointed. It's kind of like the Flyers year. What was that last year where they were in the playoff spot all year long, and then they crumbled down the stretch? You're like, okay, it's
every year
okay, but you want to finish it out once you're there, and they couldn't do it.
The
Flames and Canucks sort of in the same boat as being this year's Flyers. Yeah.
The Ducks, I also just want to throw this out there, and I know this will bother Philadelphia fans because I heard from a few of them. Cutter Gauthier hit, in a 6-1 loss, 20 goals last night.
He's been pretty good.
And, I think it was one of our hardcore listeners, Jay Money, was like, yeah, but like he wasn't responding to calls. Jay Money's from Philly, right? He wasn't responding to calls from legends, blah, blah, blah. You have to trade him. It's like you don't have to trade him like that, and you don't have to trade him for who they got. And I think the Flyers masked the fact that they made a bad trade and tried to sell it to the fans. It clearly worked because they're still defending it. But this is going to be, you know who else defended a trade that I called terrible and has turned out to be one of the worst trades in history?
Was it me?
Blackhawks fans.
Oh.
Brandon Saad and Temi Pernard.
Yo.
And Blackhawks fans used to come out in droves and be like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about with that
You
trade.
had that one from the start.
Dude, everybody can have this. The reason Philly had to sell this so hard and sell how much they didn't like this guy is because, or how bad of a guy he was because he didn't want to play for Torts, is because they knew they made a bad trade. And they should have held back. You know what? Okay, you don't want to play here. Fine. We still retain your rights.
Yeah.
We'll wait till we get good value back. And no offense to Jamie Drysdale, but that ain't it.
One of these days, we'll get the full story there. Do you feel like we have it? I don't.
I don't think so. I think we got most of it though, and I think it comes down to a lot of players, and a couple of people have said this, so it's anecdotal. Don't want to play for Torts. Young guys don't want to play for this guy, and he's not a young team coach. I think that's not a crazy thing to say. You look at those Blue Jackets teams where I think he was really successful. And I don't compare like the early 2000s Lightning to this because that was a different era. But the Blue Jackets teams that he coached that would regularly at least get to like the first round.
Yeah.
Those teams were full of veterans, full of guys, Torts type guys. I don't look at the early 2000s Lightning as that.
Adam.
Yeah.
What day was John Tortorella fired?
We were in San Jose, so it was like late March.
Can you Google it?
What day?
Yeah, we were in San Jose. Jesse's on it. Which one of you is faster? Compete for my love.
March 27th?
March 27th. Got it. Okay, so Mitchkov, since then, 2 goals, 1 assist, 2 goals, 2 assists, no points. What a piece of garbage. And 1 assist. He has a point in almost every game. He was hot starting from before Torts firing. He has a point in every game except one in his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. He could have won the Calder.
Yeah.
He could have or been in the running. Dude, this is a crazy year.
Mm-hmm. It's Wolf, Celebrini, Hudson, but not in that order.
Wolf, Celebrini, Hudson, Michkov, like Gauthier would probably be nominated a lot of years. Mackie Samoskevich, Marco Kaspar.
Mm-hmm.
There's some really, really good rookies this year. Chicago's kind of put some of their rookies in a weird, like in a spot where it's difficult to win the Calder. Like Lev Shunov calling him up late and stuff like that. But no, it's an insane class. What were we talking about?
Well, we're just talking about the fact that that Gauthier hit 20 goals last night, and that trade will haunt the Flyers for a while. I think it's going to set their rebuild back. I do. And you can't move me from that point. That is not fair value back for that player. Sorry. Just isn't.
It's not. Where I'll meet Flyers fans is it's obviously a very unique situation. And like, okay, players don't want to play for Torts. Fine. I don't think you can allow prospects to dictate who your coach is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Like if
he also doesn't need to dictate when you make the trade, and it seems like they rushed it. That's my point.
I think they thought they were better than they are.
100%.
Yeah.
Because it was made, as Jesse mentioned, last year when they were in the playoff hunt.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So now moving on, and I think the Flyers would be better if they had any goalies that could stop a puck.
Yeah.
That's the beginning, middle, end.
That like speaks to the Flame season too, because from October, the beginning of the season, to March 1st, Dustin Wolf was a .913, and from March 1st on, he's been a .904, and dropping that 9 points in the save percentage, you see that the Flames were just riding Dustin Wolf for the whole season, and once that kind of dropped off and he was just average goaltender, they couldn't muster enough around him to save their season.
They put too much on the kid.
Yeah.
This is why, and I know some Montreal Canadiens fans didn't love this. This is why I gave Wolf the tiebreaker over Hudson like a month ago. It's really hard to be a defenseman, obviously, as a rookie, but to be a rookie goalie as young as Wolf and carrying your team to the playoffs by himself with a bottom 3 offensive team in the league, that's insane.
If they got in, I think I still might, depending on how everything went with the
Hudson's
Flames.
been insane.
Hudson's been insane the last couple of weeks. I don't think I'd sway, but it'd be a lot closer.
Oh, yes.
You know, if Dustin Wolf single-handedly as a rookie goaltender is able to get them into the playoffs, like, it'd be incredible. I'd probably lean Hudson still, but the conversation was different a month ago when it looked like he was able to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what happened to the Flyers last year, too. The Cutter Gauthier trade, I want to check on it. It was January 8th, so at that moment, they were still in that playoff spot. Maybe Daniel Briere's riding a little high on his own supply, and he's like, I can make this deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Samuel Harrison. He'll get us
Steve,
there.
I'm kind of with Steve on, like, I want the full story, because how bad was it that you had to make this deal?
Well, Gauthier hasn't really said anything.
Yeah.
But the Flyers did. And the Flyers overselling of it. You remember, Keith Jones is on NBC Philadelphia. Danny Briere is doing a press conference. Torts is like, I could give a shit what Cutter Gauthier says. Like, stuff like that, right? And Cutter Gauthier, by the way, didn't say anything.
Yeah.
So Torts is like, I could give a shit about nothing because he's not talking. Guys, there was a campaign here. Management, the 3 levels of the organization.
But what did Cutter?
Head.
I don't know.
What did Cutter do? Apparently, he didn't respond to emails and phone calls. Fine. You're pissed about that. I get it. Again, I go, you could have waited for the trade deadline.
All right.
Could have waited for the trade deadline.
Here's what's going to happen.
It was a month and a half later.
I'll get you the answer in November.
Yeah.
For the Easter Seals,
Okay.
Eric Lindros Celebrity Hockey Classic.
Tortorella's coming to coach.
No, I'm just going to walk right up to the Big E.
And be like, what happened?
Sorry, I call him Eric. I'm just going to walk right up to Eric. And I'm going to be like, what's up with Cutter Gauthier? And he's going to be like, here's the full story, Steven. I tell you everything. That's what he always says to me.
Is that what he says? He says every sentence, here's the full story. I tell you everything, Steven.
No, he just goes, Dangle, good job this year. And I don't ask him questions like that.
Hey, Brock Boeser finally said the quiet part out loud. It's not likely he's going to be back with the Canucks. Here's what he said. Honestly, it's unlikely at this point. It sucks. It's unfortunate. I'm just trying to play good hockey, and I'll worry about everything after that. We all know it's been a roller coaster year. There's been a lot of different things. Now, he apparently wanted 8 years, $8.5 million. I don't think the amount of money per year was the thing that stopped the Canucks. It seemed to be the term. They were looking more 3 to 5. He's 28 years old, has a history of injury, but also has a history of coming back from injuries and being quite successful.
Yeah, but It's the Vancouver Canucks, and I feel like that's an important piece of the puzzle.
Okay, why?
Pettersson has been terrible, and he's playing through an injury. Thatcher Demko missed a ton of the season due to injury, and like he's likely going to miss a bunch of time for the rest of his career. Philip Hedl is a complete question mark going forward. And then there's Brock Boeser, who is an incredible player, but you know, the guy's missed a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he gets hurt on purpose, but if you're the Canucks, is that where you're going to invest all your dollars? I don't know.
He had 40 goals last year, 81 games. He's played 72 games this year. Got a little injured in the playoffs for that game 7, but was 12 points in 12 games, including 7 goals.
Absolutely. Oh, and like he won a game by himself. He won a game by himself against Nashville. What's his weird stat line that I saw yesterday, the day before? So he scored over 40 goals last year. How many 30-goal seasons does he have?
0.
Yeah. So it's all in the 20s.
Right.
He's one of those
25 this year.
He's like, for a while, he was hockey's greatest 40-goal scorer to never score 30.
Yes. Yeah.
One of those guys who always had that potential, never reached it. Last year he did. I want that player. I love that player. But I understand why the Canucks would maybe not. Losing him for nothing is bad.
Well, Patrick Allvin said at the trade deadline they didn't get any. He's like, if you saw what I got, you would have run me out of town.
Okay.
So nothing. So nothing.
Now you're getting nothing. Cool.
It's like, listen, another argument I'm going to make, and I bring it back to Dubas could have had a draft pick for Zach Hyman, instead chose nothing on principle.
You know, the media gets a lot of criticism for, you know, making players and coaches and managers' lives harder. I don't think anyone took more or had more missteps in front of the microphone this year than the Vancouver Canucks. Mm-hmm. And so many of their mistakes are just completely unforced. Why? What possessed you to say that?
Well, I think it was because Canucks fans were pissed. They were like, are you serious? We're going to lose this player for nothing because you won't sign him.
Yeah.
So I think they were pissed, and rightfully so. Like, hey, guys, okay, you're not going to sign the guy. We get that. We know the season has sucked for a lot of reasons that are not Brock Boeser's fault, and we'd like to see some value back for Brock Boeser.
I wasn't satisfied with the offers we got for this exemplary player who's been a great Canuck for a long time.
Sounds a lot better.
I would have been run out of the friggin'... What are you doing?
Because that does sewer any chance you would have to sign Brock Boeser too, because it makes him look bad.
Yes. Oh, man, this guy's a fucking bomb. You think I'm gonna... What are you doing, bro? Shut up. Shut up. That's a completely unforced error by Patrick Allvin. And, like, I know the Vancouver media, you know, probably top 5 in terms of, venomous tongues. But so many of the Canucks spicy quotes this season where you go, ooh, were unforced errors. That was probably the worst one.
Right.
Because now you're going to lose this guy you drafted 23rd. He's been an amazing Canuck for a long time for nothing.
Could lose JT Miller, Brock Boeser, and Rick Tocchet within 6 months of each other.
At least you got something for Miller. For God's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
currently sitting on LTIR, but yes.
Now you lose Boeser for nothing. So you can move on to getting an extraordinarily lackluster return for Elias Pettersson.
Oh, they're not going to trade him.
I don't think they are either.
Jess, if you were a general manager, do you take, let's say it's $8.5 million. Do you take Brock Boeser at $8.5 million over 8 or 7 years, or do you take Nikolai Ehlers, who is also a free agent, $8.5 million over 7 years?
Boeser's 28. Mm-hmm. How old is Ehlers?
Ehlers, I think, is around the same age.
Yeah, they're around the same age.
Because he's
29.
Willie draft, yeah.
I'd rather have Ehlers at this point.
Okay.
This is another guy who's missed a lot of time.
That's why I think they're a good comparable.
Yeah, no, they are. And Boeser's had like a much higher ceiling in terms of goals, but Ehlers has been more consistent in terms of his point totals. And I feel like Ehlers is probably going to be a little cheaper than Boeser based on what the market is for Boeser because he's more of a goal scorer. I don't know. I'd rather have Ehlers on my team.
Well, here's the biggest difference.
Based on how they play.
Here's the biggest difference. We talked about how prolific Boeser's been in the playoffs. 37 games played for Ehlers, 4 goals, 10 assists, 14 points. If I'm the Jets and I have any aspirations of doing anything this year, that number's got to come up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
Brock Boeser has only been to the playoffs twice in 29 games because both were deep runs, 23 points, 11 of those were goals. And last year, 7 of them in 12.
He's so good.
So good.
Yeah. He's
so
got
good.
another gear.
But like Ehlers isn't going to cost you as much as Boeser, right?
I don't think so. I said comparable money, but I don't know. Is Ehlers even an $8 million guy at 7 years? I don't know. He's already making 6.5.
Just give him a Hurricanes jersey, for God's sake. Why are we all wasting our time?
You think he's a Hurricane? I think he's going to want to go to a place where he can actually open up and just be himself and not have to worry about playing in a hard. Because think about the coaches he's had.
Yeah.
Paul Maurice, defensive system. Yeah. Rick Bowness, defensive system. Scott Arniel's had them playing pretty high-flying hockey. But I feel like he's going to go a place where he can just go be offense guy a little bit.
He's going to be, well.
Because he was comparable to Nylander when they were drafted. They were drafted one after the other.
Yeah, but over 60 points each of the last 2 seasons, Carolina's going to get a hold of him and be like, whoa, okay there, Kucherov, and friggin' bring him into the fold.
This is why I don't think he would want to go there, because I feel like, not that there's anything wrong with Carolina, but it's like, if you're okay with your offense dying, I feel like he wants to be the guy that gets 80, 90 points a year.
And he feels like a Hurricane to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Feels like a Hurricane.
All right. Listen, anything can happen in free agency.
They've been taking bigger swings than that. Not that he's not a big swing, but like they went out and got Mikko friggin' Rantanen.
Yeah.
And then flipped him. So maybe I'm wrong, but someone should pay Nikolai Ehlers this summer.
The Dallas Stars have reinforcements, gentlemen. Tyler Seguin was not only skating, but is taking hits at practice, physical contact. That would mean he would have to find a way somewhere to fit in with Robertson, Hintz, Rantanen, Marchment, Duchesne, Granlund, Ben, Wyatt Johnson, Maverick Bourque, and then the fourth line, Bach, Steele, and Dadonov. So I would imagine they'd probably put him in at wing to start. But like, where do you put Tyler Seguin in that lineup?
Who's back? Not Seguin.
Oscar back.
Oscar back. All right, let's look.
25 years old.
I mean, you would think Oscar back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to look at the season he's had. 71 games played, 16 points. He's friggin' huge. I feel like Sam Steele has been pretty decent. No. 76 games played, 23 points. Like, it's one of those two, right?
Mm-hmm.
Surely.
But eventually, do you expect him to move up in the lineup, or is he is Tyler Seguin your fourth line center?
Well, the great thing is you can just roll, right? And if one line's clicking and another line's not, it's real easy. Bump one up 2 minutes, bump the other down 2 minutes, right? Like, you don't even need to have a first line, a second line, a third line. You have lines with purpose.
Right.
That's what, I keep bringing up the Lightning. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, but each line had a very distinct purpose. That's been my criticism of the Leafs' bottom 6. I'm like, okay, what do you do though?
Right.
Like, you have the top 2 lines. They're expected to score, but they can sort of shut down a little bit. They can do a little bit of everything. And then they throw out these third and fourth line.
Bunch of guys.
You're just there taking up time. Like, what do you do? Right? So the Stars can that is one of the deepest forward groups I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Is Wyatt Johnson on their third line?
Yes.
Go to jail. Go to prison jail.
Yep.
Wow. How is that allowed? What happened to my league? That's
Seguin has 2 more years at $9.85 million. So he's 33 though. You got to hope that he finds some of that offensive flair. Jamie Benn's contract is up at the end of this year, as is Granlund and Duchesne and Dadonov.
All these
there will be an exodus.
All these guys I covered in junior who were like young and indestructible with like 24-pack abs are now oft-injured old guys, and it's bothering me. Tyler Seguin used to be an Adonis.
He's got 20 points in 19 games that he's played this year.
Jesus. Yeah, like, oh my God.
I know you look at the roster on paper, and the forward group is really good in terms of like name recognition, how they play and everything, but I'm not confident in the Dallas Stars at all going into the playoffs. Right now, they're on a 4-game losing streak. One of the losses is in OT, and they haven't looked like the better team on the ice in a lot of games they've played over the last like month or so. And some of that's injuries, obviously, but their D-core is very light. They're going to get Miro Heiskanen back for the playoffs. Hopefully when it kicks off, he'll come in game 1.
That's
so
a huge part.
That'll change everything. But right now, I don't think there's a lot of confidence amongst Stars fans about how they're looking right now going in. And Craig Ludwig of Dallas Sports was doing an interesting breakdown of how they play a man-on-man defense and how teams over the last week or so and a little bit have been exploiting that. And I look at a team like Colorado, who if Dallas looks like how they currently look, will be able to exploit the way Dallas plays hockey.
So I've been hammering the drum for the Leafs. Like, you don't get to pick and choose who you play in the playoffs. There's good teams. You don't get to complain. I think the Stars can complain a bit. That friggin' sucks, dude.
What?
That you're going to finish second in the division. You're one of the best teams in the league. You get Colorado?
Yeah, well, that's why
first round, and you got Vegas last year.
And we keep saying the playoff thing sucks. The playoff seeding sucks.
It's a hard damn trophy to win. That's so bad.
Yeah. 106 points already, and 50 wins, this Dallas Stars team.
And, yep, cool.
Interestingly,
anyway, here's the Avs.
The Dallas Stars may have the least amount of money to spend next year. This offseason. They've got about $5 million to spend, and a lot of guys on expiring deals. So I don't know how they're going to have to make some moves.
Yeah, but they've locked up like the most important pieces.
Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm also curious to see what he does in the playoffs for not the Avalanche. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, what does he look like in a playoff situation without Nathan MacKinnon? I think that's a worthwhile question to ask.
I mean, McKinnon's such a unique player in this league, too. Like, you don't even bother trying to replicate him.
Right.
I don't know.
Now, I meant to bring this up a couple episodes ago because the NHL tweeted it out after Ovechkin's thing, but there have been a lot of things that we've had the chance to talk about and a lot of things that we haven't.
Yes.
So I love that the NHL put this out. Ovi has 895. If players kept playing at their current goal per game pace,
yes,
here's when every player would score their 895th goal, or at least some of the top players. Okay. Yes. So if Sidney Crosby plays another 8 years, 32-33 is when he would break the record.
That's actually insane.
If Matthews...
Crosby, for the record, is one of the greatest goal scorers of all time.
Yeah.
And he would still have to play another 8 years.
If Matthews plays 10 more years, he will, at this goal per game rate where he's at, it'll be 33-34. 34-35, excuse me.
It's absurdly doable for him, but he's got to stay healthy.
And for Leon Draisaitl as well. In 11 years, Leon Draisaitl would be able to, 36-37. He would be able to. Connor McDavid, 37-38. Pasternak, 37-38. Kucherov, 39-40. McKinnon, 40-41. Reinhart in 44. Caulfield in 47. And Wyatt Johnson in 51. It's a while.
The Draisaitl one, like I did a little bit of my own math on that one. If he scored at the goal scoring pace that he's had the last 3 seasons and he played another 500 games, he'd still be something like 150 goals short. That's Leon Draisaitl. That's, oh my God.
Yeah.
Ovechkin's an alien.
That's this year's leading goal scorer, Leon Draisaitl.
Yes. That's an alien from outer space.
Yeah. Very cool. I just thought it was a neat graphic. Also, I love that they made it about the Leafs because they used Austin's.
Yeah.
But you know what? I do hope Leon and Austin at least make it interesting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, I want them to be old men and still trying.
Leon, the beginning of his career really hurt him. Like, in terms of chasing the greatest goals scoring title of all time.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it was his focus, I'll be honest.
No, and he's 2 years older than Matthews too, or was drafted 2 years before Matthews, I think. Austin, I need you to make it interesting, bud. because he's obviously slowed down a bit this year.
Yeah.
A lot. He scored 69 last year. It's going to be very interesting.
Okay. Now, shall we do a press conference?
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
First question comes from Logan, who writes, should Martin St. Louis get Jack Adams votes for the Canadians making the playoffs?
Man, for a guy who had no real professional experience heading into getting his job with the Montreal Canadiens.
Wasn't it like a boys
AAA
14-year-old team? Yeah.
Look up his elite prospects page, because it'll probably have I think he was playing with 13-year-olds or coaching 13-year-olds.
Which I don't think you can count as professional experience.
Nope, me neither. It used to be the bad team that makes the playoffs award. Now I think there's room for, could Scott Arniel get it with the Jets, for example? Everything's gone his way.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, but John Cooper won it.
When?
So I can't remember, a few years ago. I think it was the year they won the President's Trophy. They won everything.
Right. Yeah.
Has never won the Jack Adams Award.
Yeah, so you made that up.
John Cooper's never what? Mm-hmm. I could have swore to God he did.
No.
No.
Has not won it.
Did Jim Montgomery win it?
Yes, when the Bruins won.
Yeah,
maybe I'm thinking
him.
of him.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
What the hell?
I know. It's weird that he has.
It's one of
I
the
believed
teams
you.
that
You were
set the
very
record.
confident.
Yeah.
I believe.
John Cooper has never won the Jack Adams.
There's even
When
a
would he
Yahoo
win it?
Sports article from 17 hours ago. Canada's Four Nations faceoff coach John Cooper has never won a Jack Adams.
Okay, so Jesse, I'd like to change my answer. I was going to say, yes, St. Louis should get votes. My new answer is scrap the award. It's entirely invalid.
No,
because
it's
John Cooper has never won it.
Yeah, because we had the Tampa discussion before. They've never been world beaters in the regular season, and during Cooper's tenure, they've never been 31st and then they're 8th place, which is how you win the Jack Adams.
Yeah.
Who won it in
19?
2019. Who won the
Rube, maybe?
2019?
All right.
No. Oh yeah, maybe.
2019.
Because he essentially didn't lose.
Yeah. Okay, let me go back. Give me a sec.
Also, Cooper didn't either.
So, Rick Tocchet last year, Jim Montgomery the year before with the Daryl Sutter, Calgary Flames 2022. That should invalidate the award right there.
Yes.
Rod Brind'Amour, Canes 21. Bruce Cassidy, Boston Bruins 20. Barry Trotz, New York Islanders 2019. Gerard Gallant, Vegas Golden Knights 2018.
So Barry Trotz.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
St.
remember
Louis
when-
should get some votes, but I'd rather just
You're upset about
I'd rather just go to some cottage campfire and throw the Jack Adams right in it.
Remember Paul McLean winning it in 2013?
Yo, what?
Yeah, Ottawa Senators.
The Leafs
coach Paul
eye in the
McLean.
sky coach?
That's
what he's
right.
best known for?
Yeah, that's right.
What?
Yeah, Bob Hartley in 2015. Calgary Flames.
Let's give Martin St. Louis some other award. Let's start fresh.
Well,
let's do Coach of the Year.
I think it's his reward is yes, he will get votes. To answer the question very shortly, yes, he will get votes. Whether he wins it or not, I don't know. But part of the reward is keeping the job, because at the beginning of the season, the Habs were bad, and there were questions about that. Is he the guy? Maybe he's good with young guys, but is he the guy to take them to the next level? You can't. Especially Habs fans can't sit there and tell me that they weren't asking that same question.
Well, and he's doing it the hard way, right? He got them at their bottom.
Yeah.
Built them up.
Yeah.
That's, management usually gets credited with all that. And Kent Hughes does deserve credit, but wow. Cooper's never won the damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Stanley Cups that he has probably don't mean a lot more to him than the Jack Adams. So
yeah.
I don't think he cares.
Yeah, Cooper has 2 Stanley Cups,
Yeah.
4 appearances in the Stanley Cup final. He won the Four Nation faceoff. He's got Calder Cup even. He got, and he doesn't have a Jack Adams.
Gold medal?
Yeah, does he have? No, he wouldn't have an Olympic gold medal. Not as a head coach. I think he might as an assistant.
Maybe. Let's look it up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Barry Trotz actually won the Jack Adams that year for the second time in his career. He had also won it in 15-16 with the Caps.
I'm not going to take it away from Trotz. He's a great coach. Terrible GM.
I don't know, it sounds
but
pretty
he's
bad
a
out
really good coach. Horrible GM. Just terrible. Just awful. Wow.
No gold medal for Mr. John Cooper.
Well, that's why.
Just a finalist for the Jack Adams Award in 1819, Calder Cup champion.
And that's it.
USHL Coach of the Year, Robertson Cup champion, Clark Cup champion.
We gotta change the way that that the Jack Adams criteria is measured, because Steve made a really good point once. He was like, oh shit, you guys are good this year. Well, it must be the coach, right? And I feel like it sort of does the award a disservice when you have like the Jets. The Jets were really good last year too.
Yes.
If Scott Arniel wins this, are we? Is it Scott Arniel that got them over the hump? Is it a change? Is like their personnel didn't actually change that much. I can see I could see the reason why a guy like Rick Tocchet wins it last year. Again, Canucks personnel didn't change that much. Rick did though. He came in, brought in new systems, and it worked. I look at this though and go, okay, like if there's ever been a Revenant Coach of the Year award, it's got to go to John Cooper, right?
But not this year.
Well, maybe not this year, but at some point we got to find a way, because the best coaches, like here's one, Rod Brindamore. We just talked about Rod Brindamore at the beginning of the show, Jesse.
Sure.
You talked about the low danger shots versus the amount.
Yeah.
That is a system that nobody else is playing and has given them significant, consistent success
Over years.
Years and years and years. Why do we look at the Jack Adams as like, if you're just starting, you should start down here in the voting.
No, there's only two candidates for the Jack Adams this season, and it's Travis Green and Martin St. Louis. The bad teams that are now good. Yeah,
buddy.
that's it.
I think Jim Montgomery deserves consideration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No question.
Which is crazy.
If the
'cause
award
he got
works that
fired.
way.
Yeah.
But I don't think the award works that way.
John Cooper, by the way, highest paid coach in the league. Duh.
Someone's going to vote for him, and it's
Spencer
gonna be fun.
Carberry is an interesting
one.
one.
He's probably
Because
the winner, isn't
He's
because
probably
of
the
how
winner.
well Washington does, but they usually don't hand it out like that.
he? Yeah.
He should win it. He should win it.
Carberry should probably win it.
Because he got
St.
them to the
Louis should be
playoffs
up
last
there,
year, too. Like, it should... Listen, I know it's an award for that particular season, but I think what you're coming in with does matter. If it matters that the team went from bad last year to good, it should also matter that they were good this year, or good last year, and super good this year, right?
The big difference between the two teams, the Capitals made major changes to their roster. Montreal didn't really. Like, they're doing it with the same core.
Patrick Laine,
who wasn't there for like a huge chunk.
Yeah, and when did they start winning?
That's fair.
They started winning when he
Lane
came back.
Hudson, though, was a way more transformational addition to the roster than Laine. But like that's a rookie defenseman, and I'm sorry, I don't care how good he is. A rookie defenseman can't have success in this league without a good coach ushering them into the league. I'd probably, based on that logic, I think I would rather give it to St. Louis than Carberry, but obviously the Capitals have been way better.
Carberry.
Yeah, it's not playoffs and that's the cutoff.
Now,
it's like these guys might win the President's.
Let's say the Habs are within striking distance of the division lead next year at this time, which is entirely possible based on how things are gone. Then you'll talk to me about Marty St. Louis winning it.
Yeah,
he's gonna get votes this year. He should, but winning it, there's a lot of guys at the top of the league I'd want to give it to first.
And if he does, can we then get out of the habit of recycling the same like 40 dudes? Because like we saw St. Louis get that job and his total, like, yeah, he's obviously a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah.
But as a coach, like playing is not coaching. Coaching is not playing. It's not the same. Habs went in there, they got him, and he's done incredibly. Yeah. Can we maybe get outside of the 40 dude rotation?
Mid Fairfield Rangers, 13 and under AAA team, is all of Martin St. Louis' experience coaching.
That is one of the wildest elite prospect page.
Crazy.
It's like, dude, it's like David Ayers. Like, he was coaching under 13-year-olds.
13-year-olds, AAA team.
Team consultant.
To be fair, I don't know. AAA is pretty, 13-year-old
high level.
AAA is pretty good. It's pretty good hockey.
Did they win?
I don't know.
Look it up. Who is their leading scorer? I want to see if the team is rigged. No, that is.
You're gonna be really into AAA hockey when Leo's playing there.
Oh my God!
Don't poo-poo AAA hockey.
If his coach doesn't go straight to the NHL from the Ajax Pickering Raiders,
are you gonna when they ask for volunteers? Because the assistant coach job, sometimes they're usually like parents who are like volunteer. Oh, I'll do the assistant coach job, whatever. Are you gonna step up to the plate?
There was already hockey I was looking at signing him up for, and one of the questions I was asked was, would I consider coaching? And I was like, no.
No, Steve, you might get that itch once he's a little older.
What am I going to teach him?
When they ask you, Steve Dangle, to get behind the bench as just an assistant coach, you don't have to be head coach.
All right, guys, here's how you react poorly to penalty calls. Like, what am I going to teach him?
I think you could do what other dads do and just learn.
You can.
Well, I'm trying. But I'm in the middle of it.
Yeah, but he's just starting.
Everybody starts from nothing.
Yeah,
and they get a first job.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to be head coach and know how everything works. I'm asking you to learn from like the head coach and be an assistant and then learn.
I'm watching Leo figure out crossovers on his own, and I'm like, oh shit, he's gonna pass me real soon.
Are you gonna coach this team?
No.
Not. That's not fun.
Listen, I'm not ruling it out.
Okay.
And if I do, I'm gonna wear a bright shirt and a bow tie. And
you're like Stephen A. Smith running for president. Don't rule it out.
Oh God.
Yeah, exactly. That's a little much.
We don't need that in our lives.
Jesse, I have a question. Where did you get that cool jersey?
I was gifted it in San Jose.
It's an Air Force jersey. Yes, stand up just a little bit so people can see.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
How cool is that? That's a very cool
And
jersey.
on your stream yesterday, or the Wednesday game, the person who gifted it to me asked if I could wear it today. So that's what I'm doing.
Very nice.
You're just going to let him boss you around like that?
Yes. If you gift me free things, you can have whatever control of my body you want.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
That's the way free things work.
Okay.
Oh.
Yep.
All right. Next one.
Next question's for you, Adam. Somebody is upset.
Oh, what a surprise.
Hell yeah.
Is it a Flyers fan?
Says, Adam always refers to Kris Letang as a Hall of Famer. Can we hear his argument as to why? And if he is, should Brian Rafalski also be in the Hall of Fame? He has better credentials than Letang. Remember, it's the Hockey Hall of Fame, not NHL Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why that matters because most of the people in the Hall of Fame are NHL players.
Click on his profile.
No, what? No.
Where are you from?
Yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm gonna guess Jersey. I'm gonna say Jersey.
Don't bully.
But it might be Dallas. He played Dallas, right?
Adam, do you think Kris Letang is a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
That's the question.
Is that something that's like difficult?
Okay.
Here's a guy that has almost 800 points. He's got 2 Stanley Cups.
Yep.
Why doesn't he have a third Stanley?
No, wait, what the fuck?
He's got.
Oh, because he wasn't part of one of the runs.
Oh, okay, but he still was on the team and played that year, right?
Yeah.
16, 17. Yeah,
Hockey DB doesn't credit him as being.
Okay, but so he's got 3 cups. The guy is, yes, like I said, 772 points. In an era where, especially at the beginning of it, was kind of still low scoring, right? He has had the other thing about Letang, I think people forget because people hate a winner, and the Penguins were winners for 2 decades or a decade and a half. Kris Letang faced career-ending injury after career-ending injury. Some of them happened on the ice, some of them didn't, and I can't rhyme them off the top of my head, but I know there was like a heart condition. There was there not concussions, and there were so many times. He
suffered, wasn't it 2 strokes?
Yeah, like Kris Letang should not be playing.
I'm shocked he's still playing.
And he's, put up 30 points again this season. The man is 37 years old. He was a 3rd-round pick. I don't know, man. Like, I just 3 Stanley Cups, 90 career points in the playoffs in 150 games. 90.
Now,
that's crazy.
Rafalski is 100 in 165 games. Like, Rafalski's playoff credentials are probably better, but...
So here's my question. Why can't it be both?
There's an argument.
At no point have you... So you're pissed off at an argument that I never made. I said,
tell him, kid.
Letang is a Hall of Famer. I did not say, fuck Brian Rafalski.
I don't think
And
you
his-
brought
and
up
his-
Brian Rafalski.
Have I ever mentioned Brian Rafalski's name on this show?
Pissed off is an exaggeration.
I-
This person doesn't sound pissed off. I think they just.
Well, what about Brian Rafalski? What about my guy? What about the guy that I hold the cable for?
I think he's.
But he
I think he's
framed the
mad-
question as in why aren't you defending Brian Rafalski more?
No, I
Sure,
think,
he should get in too.
I think
they just used it as a comparison.
I think his point, and it's a fair criticism, is that at the 2010 Olympics, Kris Letang lost Sidney Crosby in front of the American net, and that allowed Crosby to score the golden goal.
Yeah, you can't.
Oh,
get in.
no. Sorry, that was Rafalski. Rafalski's American. Sorry. America lost. I keep forgetting that one. Rafalski, there's an argument, should be in like the cool journey to the NHL Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know this about him. So undrafted from Dearborn, Michigan, played in the USHL with the Madison Capitals, 4 years at the University of Wisconsin. And then he went to, you guessed it, Brunus of the SEL.
Wow.
Played 3 years in the Finnish league, 3 full seasons in the Finnish league, including a championship with HIFK Helsinki. And then he immediately won a Stanley Cup his first year in the league with New Jersey, also won in 2003 and won with the Red Wings in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, listen, Rafalski's career, this is the criticism I would say. You're taking Adam saying Letang should be in and applying Rafalski to Letang.
Yes, which is what I said.
Yeah. No. I'm saying him. That's what he's doing.
And I said that too. I'm like, the framing of the question is weird.
What you need to do is compare both gentlemen to people who are in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
And Rafalski's credentials, while really good and really impressive, would never get you into the Hall of Fame.
So does that mean Letang shouldn't? Because here's the thing about Letang, right? He a lot of injuries. He was in the World Juniors and that sort of thing, 05, 06, 07, but, didn't play for the Olympics.
Yeah.
Didn't do the Olympic, wasn't an Olympic guy.
The premise of the question, like, do you think Letang is a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
He's also not done, which is a valid part of the conversation. Sure. Like, he's going to continue to add to his legacy.
I think he is a Hall of Famer. I think if he was on the two Penguins runs that he was on for the Cup final, he was there. He was the guy leading the power play each time. He's got almost 800 points in 1,200 games ish. I'm rounding up on both ways. I don't know.
515 points in 833 games is extremely impressive for a defenseman, and it has never gotten anyone into the Hall of Fame. Not in recent memory.
Fair enough.
You have to go back to like real old guys where you'll start seeing similar stat lines. Show me a defenseman in recent memory who's gotten in with that.
Do you think that
it's not like
a player's injury history and their ability to bounce back from it? And I think specifically about Sidney Crosby after, was it 2012 when he missed most of the season? 2013?
11. 10, 11, I think.
Do you find it even more impressive that because of those games lost, he still is where he is? Because if you're missing,
God.
like even Kucherov, I know we all were like, yeah, I know, like he was, he missed a season, but he was ready to come back, and he was.
Yeah.
But I think that's what makes Kucherov even more impressive, is to come back from an injury where even if he was going to miss half the season, the fact that Kucherov the last 2 years has been a couple of points off the points leader and is going to be this runner-up for the Hart maybe again this year.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't that, to me, that makes it more impressive, which is why I'm so pro Letang.
The list of guys in recent memory who played, I'm going to say, under 900 games in the NHL and got into the Hall of Fame is like, you really need to be like, okay, are you one of these guys? Peter Forsberg.
Yeah.
Eric Lindros.
Did Mario get 900?
Mario just got 900. Pavel Bure.
Yeah. So, like, outstanding players that injuries or whatever.
Yeah, Paul Kariya is the name I keep bringing up for him. Like, he didn't have a ton of individual hardware. 989 games played, 989 points. Exactly a point a game player. But he's one of the ones where I'm like, the Hall of Fame? But he gets the bump. He gets the theoretical points bump in a lot of people's minds. Right?
Well, I also think, which again, I hate the era adjusted stats, but I would love to run Paul Kariya's stats through era adjusted. Because I bet they would explode.
Like through his Ducks tenure, how many players scored more points than Paul Kariya? It's probably not a big list. I don't know why you got to compare those two to each other.
Oh, this conversation for me is so short and easy. Kris Letang makes the Hall of Fame because last year in the 2024 class, Shea Weber made the Hall of Fame. Kris Letang has more points, a more impressive career, I think a higher ceiling throughout his entire life in the NHL than Shea Weber, and Shea Weber made the Hall of Fame.
And he's won.
So
Shea Weber did not.
Shea Weber being first
I think
ballot?
Easily, if Shea Weber got in last year, that Kris Letang is a Hall of Famer, and Brian Rafalski, I think, would be in that same category, and he's not in the Hall of Fame, so he probably should be.
Yeah,
but
maybe
I don't work for the Hall of Fame committee.
You know what?
He would be in my Hall of Fame.
Let me say it for you. Fuck Brian Rafalski. No, I'm kidding. I actually really hate him.
So I think Shea Weber is kind of the new bar for me, and Letang, I think, has a much more impressive career than Weber.
Can I point out it's very funny that HockeyDB has Shea Weber's season with the Montreal Canadiens in 2020-2021 as his last season with stats, but it does have Utah and Chicago for this year, just with no statistics available or statistics unavailable.
Is his contract still going?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
he got traded twice
in the
this
Hall
year.
of Fame.
Yeah. No, he's been technically on 2 teams this year.
That's insane.
Chris Pronger did the same. No,
but
Weber,
Yager can't put Yager in.
Weber had an unbelievable NHL career, but first ballot Hall of Fame is a joke.
It's ridiculous.
Really good player. Strong argument he should have eventually been in there for sure. Individual hardware, the Messier Leadership Award. End of list.
Yep.
Cups, none.
Yep.
What? I might put him behind both those guys.
Yeah, and now like Letang, same thing. Like he's won like the Masterton, but
he got 2 cups.
No Norris's. In terms, I'm just talking individual.
Oh, right,
guys, you know, a lot of guys have been on Cup teams. Doesn't mean they should be in the Hall of Fame. You know.
Yeah, that's
even
fair.
the Reds.
Hell yeah. You know what? You're right, and you should say it.
But his career in terms of what he's meant to the Penguins and even the individual stats are more impressive than Shea Weber. I don't think it's a question that Letang's a Hall of Famer.
Well, Weber's goals are crazy though.
Yeah, put Rafalski in there. I think is the moral of the story.
Question for you guys. Ryan Suter, Hall of Famer?
Probably.
He's played for so effing long.
That's what I'm thinking. Like so this is a guy that's played 1,524 games. He is 4 points away from 700. I don't know if he's going to get it. But when he was early on in his career, this is a guy who regularly got, for almost a decade, probably more, 40 assists a year.
Yeah, if Shea Weber is the bar for the Hall of Fame, Ryan Suter fits right in that category. First ballot, Ryan Suter.
All right.
Like, that's the new bar. It's like Shea Weber. Like, Steve, you make a good point about, like, first ballot?
It's insane.
So if that...
Look, some of the guys who have had to wait 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years...
So with
first ballot,
with this generation of players, the Letangs, the Suters, the Webers, if that's the bar, first ballot, then yes, Ryan Suter should be in first ballot. Like it's the Hall of Fame's letting everybody in these days. I shouldn't say
Keep it going.
What about Ken Danico?
They're doing their thing.
You know what, Adam? I think I should be in there. No, Ken Danico would never say this. Ken Danico is humble. Ken Danico.
What bothers me about the Hall of Fame is the secretness of the process. We don't know how many votes it took to get people in.
Yeah.
There, you can go on the website and see who's in the committee to let people in. But
Well, that's nice.
It's such a little club of, hey, we just decided this time because we like these guys, and there's no transparency with it at all, and I hate that. It's
very Simpsons Stonecutter.
It's we're picking the next pope. Like, it's ridiculous. So the Hall of Fame always bothers me. That's
Conclave.
why I say bad things about them.
That is the most I've thought about the Hall of Fame in years, by the way.
That's not true. Every year they do the induction thing, we kind of have this conversation.
I guess.
Like, we did like 30 minutes on it.
Did we?
Like,
was it Turgeon? Who did we get upset about?
Yeah.
Was it somebody? No.
Oh, Turgeon. Yeah, man. Like,
Yeah.
he had to wait forever, though.
We do this
he
every
did.
time the names come out because there's always question marks, and it never makes any sense. It's because of how it's run, and it's not the greatest thing.
I know what it was. Was it not Colin Campbell this year, guys?
Oh, yeah, the Colin Campbell. That was a whole episode.
So this year's, or last year's class, I should say, Colin Campbell is a builder.
Yep.
Which is giving a building award to a stick of dynamite. Natalie Darwitz, Pavel Datsuk, David Poyle as a player. What? Okay. Jeremy Roenick, who had to wait forever, Shea Weber, and Chrissy Wendell. The year before, Tom Barrasso as a player. God, how long did he have to wait? Ken Hitchcock, Pierre Lacroix, Henrik Lundqvist, Caroline Ouellette, Pierre Turgeon, Mike Vernon had to wait an eternity.
Yeah.
Daniel Alfredson had to wait a long time. Herb Carnegie, Roberto Luongo, Rika Salonen, Daniel Sedin, and Henrik Sedin. Oh, man.
All right.
Shea Weber, first ballot.
Next question, Jesse.
He is the director of hockey operations for the National Hockey League. And he was caught red-handed being biased against certain players and trying to ruin the reputations and fire referees who called penalties against his son. This happened in 2007. It was discovered in 2010, and it's 2024. He still works for the NHL in a high-ranking position and was just inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. It's a fucking disgrace that he's inducted to the Hall of Fame. It's a fucking disgrace that he still works for the NHL, and everyone involved should be deeply ashamed of themselves that they are party to this corrupt hypocrisy.
Yeah, well,
That's Steve Dangle on Colin Campbell.
what about the counter argument? He has been central to the crafting of every rule change and technological innovation, all of which have focused on promoting offense, speed, and skill while maintaining the game's physicality. Those changes have transformed hockey at every level around the world. NHL Commissioner and honored member, Gary Bettman.
Hey,
How is he in?
listen, I just want to know where that energy that you had for Colin Campbell is for Brian Rafalski. I expect it next year. Okay.
He gets it. It's a fucking
Do you remember now talking about the Hockey Hall of Fame?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I don't remember much. Maybe I should stop worrying about that. And, I don't remember this. That's not really.
I got fired up.
Yeah, you I think that was like a 30-minute segment just on like
Colin
Colin
Campbell.
Campbell. Yeah.
You know, it's
Look
like
how angry Steve is. Look at
Oh,
his
man.
eyebrows are almost kissing. Look at that.
My
Damn.
eyebrows are so oblong. There's no symmetry there whatsoever.
Maddie, bring it back up.
Bring it back.
No, do picture in picture and Steve recreate your own face.
You have to have your mouth open.
Yeah.
There you
look over. You get it. There you go. Do you see it?
Yeah, but
not bad.
you're a little raised. Like, are you Are you insane? It's sort of like an insane. Are you insane angry? Yeah, eyes open a little more.
think I've lost a few
eyes
pounds.
open.
There it is.
Eyes were open.
There it is.
That's a good one.
Man, sometimes someone just hates someone. I used to get bored on my night shift at work, and there were certain people I could text, and I would just be like, "What do you think of this person?" And they would just keep me entertained for the next hour or two. That's me with Colin Campbell. Just be like, "Steve, what do you think of Colin Campbell?" And I'll be like, "Oh, that fucking clown." Yep.
One of my favorite things is after we did this and we had a couple of live shows, I think probably would have been the fall, people came up to us and they were telling us about the Colin Campbell Arena and how it is a shitty arena. They're like, yeah, it's really run down and you guys are right to dump on it.
Yeah.
The fact that he has an arena named after him, I'm happy that it's a shitty arena.
The commissioner complimenting him in his Hockey Hall of Fame profile about technological innovation.
Ugh.
When he was caught being biased over email. Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Never, ever change, Gary. No problem, said Gary. Holy fuck.
Should let Brian Rafalski in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I liked Brian Rafalski, and I always used to trade for him in NHL games, and it's mostly because he pissed me off so much whenever he played the Leafs.
He deserves to be there a lot more than Colin Campbell.
Wow.
Should I hit the
Wow.
button?
Wow. Okay. All right.
What did Colin Campbell do?
Last thing
What did
before we
no?
go.
This show needs to go on for another half an hour because you guys brought up fucking Colin Campbell.
Jesse, you can fire the extra if you want to. Leafs. OEL is injured. McCabe is not ready to come back. Leafs will have to play with 5 defensemen tomorrow night. How do we feel about it?
This is Colin Campbell's fault.
Oh, no. Corrupt hypocrisy.
Corrupt hypocrisy!
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.